Okay, here we go. Okay, welcome to our live. It's Livinlikealocal, and this is for the first week of 2025. Yay! Okay, this live is for people that are thinking about moving out of the United States. A lot of things are going to change in 2025. It's going to be a big year for many people. A lot of people are going to be moving and shifting all over the place. Therefore, a lot of people are looking at where to move. For example, I have some families that are in Europe that are actually American families that live in Europe that are just they can't take the time zone change. It's just too much of a pain to work online in the middle of the night in Europe if you're working remotely for American companies. And so I have a couple families that have called and contacted me and say, hey, you know what? I want to be the same time zones as my company. And so there's a bunch of families, digital nomad, world schooling families that are looking to move to El Salvador since it is now officially, it is the safest country in the Western Hemisphere. So this video is kind of for those kind of people, European families, or world traveling families that are thinking that want to get in the right time zones, because the time zone it's a killer. It's a killer when you're either in Asia or when you're in Europe, and it's nighttime there, and you got to talk to family, and the jet lag is it's just a pain. The other big increase I've seen of people moving to El Salvador is people from Panama. There's a lot of expats. Panama has been advertising and bringing expats and foreigners to Panama for a long time, and it's one of the reasons why it's like so built up. But the problem is I've had a lot of expats call me and ask me they want to move up to El Salvador because they were sold on the internet. They were sold to this, Panama paradise. It's going to be so great. It's going to be so this and so that. And they have a little expat bubbles all over Panama. And they have all these like big tax differences and things like that they push. And they say, come live in paradise in Panama. Well, the thing is, that's a lot of sales. It's a lot of sales. And so a lot of expats have been contacting us recently saying, I got sold. And let me tell you, nobody likes to get sold. People like to know exactly what they're getting into, the good and the bad and the ugly. And so a lot of people, if you're just now looking into Latin America, maybe you're in the US and you're thinking about going south because of craziness or whatever reason in the US. Okay, well, if you're in the US, if you're going to move to Latin America, look on any podcast you like. The number one thing that people say that why they don't like moving to Latin America is because you can get scammed. Scamming is very, very, very common down here. And because in Latin America, you don't have the tort law that you have in the US, you don't really have any redress. So that's the other thing, honey. That's the other thing is when you buy down here, it's a done deal. There's no lemon laws. There's no refunds. There's no I'm going to take you to court and keep you in court. And typically in the US, honestly, it's the person with the most money wins, because whoever keeps the other person in court long enough through appeals and things like that, they're going to win until the other person runs out of money. So that's not a thing. They don't play like that down here. They're the judges are like, no, we're going to get it done. Either it's in the law, it's not in the law. And so, and if it's not in the law, then yeah, you have no redress. We've had a client before come in and there was a leak in my apartment and it created mold, and I can't stay in this apartment anymore because the mold is making me sick. And so they wanted to they needed our help legally to try and get out of the lease. And it said, well, here's the problem. Babe, I'm on a live. Do not get on here, sweetheart.
What's a live?
I am live on the internet. You cannot interrupt. Okay. Okay. Sorry about that. Anyway, so what happens is, yeah, down here, if you get scammed, it's not gonna happen. He's like, well, this isn't right. I'm gonna take him to court because I'm getting sick and I want out of this lease. And a lot of times our legal aid has to sit him down and say, okay, you can do that, and you're gonna lose because your contract says this and this and this and this and this. It doesn't matter about what's right. It doesn't matter about your opinion. It says this, and that's the other big thing. Another big thing that we have now started doing a concierge service, where with our legal, the legal aid part of our business, does two main things. One, it reviews contracts, and two, it does immigration paperwork for anybody coming in to seek residency. And that legal review, honestly, to move to Latin America, all you really need is a really good, honest, dependable lawyer. You don't need a realtor and a shipping guy and a this guy and a translator guy, blah, blah, blah. You really don't, because the laws aren't that crazy stringent. And so, the thing is, you really just need a really good lawyer. Just saying, because being scammed is the number one turnoff. In fact, this week I'm going to release a podcast with an expat guy in Colombia. He's lived in Colombia and Argentina for the past, 20 years, going back and forth from Florida to there. And I mean, the whole time he's just like, yeah, my first 5 years, I lost so much money being scammed from people, not knowing who you can trust, who you can't trust, who's going to pull the wool over your eyes. And they don't. Down here, it's, you say, well, did you get it in writing? Get it in writing. And sometimes they'll do that, but sometimes it scares people away because they're like, wait, why do you want this in writing? Don't you trust me? And they can be, the culture here makes them very suspicious of others, not naturally trusting, and everybody is very risk adverse because scams can be so prevalent. So just a warning, the number one turnoff to moving to Latin America is getting scammed. Just the other week, I saw in our expat group, somebody was asking, okay, I know construction's expensive, but I just got a quote from this contractor saying it's going to be $80,000 to get a 16-foot by 3-foot retention wall. Okay, that's a scam. It's like, yes, construction is booming in El Salvador. Lots of people are coming down. Lots of people are investing. Lots of new companies are coming in. But no, either that guy's totally scamming you, or he's probably got so many other projects going that he doesn't have the time. So he's like, look, honestly, you pay me 80 grand, I will drop all my other projects and put in your little 3-foot by 16-foot retention wall. Sounds good to me. So I'm just saying, and that's why, and that's one of the main reasons why we started relocation tours. And it's funny because, as I said, like the Panama people, there's a ton. Oh my goodness, there's so much marketing all over the internet about Panama, it's paradise. But the problem is they don't teach you about the culture. They don't teach you about, they kind of trying to just put you in an expat bubble. And the problem is it creates a lot of animosity, and relations aren't so good between the Panamanians and the locals versus the expats. And El Salvador is trying to do that very, very differently. We don't have any expat bubbles. I mean, we have certain places where you'll find probably a lot more expats than you will like a lot more expats than, say, other little rural towns, say like El Tunco like Berlin. Those are both very big international towns. Escalon, San Benito, there's a lot of foreigners there. But we don't have bubbles like you have in Mexico, in Costa Rica, in Panama. So you do have to integrate with society. And that's why I said on the front of this, video, I said create your paradise. I'm not selling you this paradise where you're going to come down here and everything's going to be catered to you and handed to you. Nope, that's not El Salvador. Nope. El Salvador is transforming, and it is a time to create, but the Salvadorans are creating. So when you come down here, it can't be, if it's like, what's in it for me? It's all about me. No, that's not El Salvador's vibe. El Salvador's vibe is, what I'm here. How can I serve? How can I raise El Salvador? How can I raise my community? How can I help the locals raise the whole town? How can I integrate and we all row together? It's kind of like, you got a bunch of boats out in the ocean. Well, you bail out your boat, and guess what? Your boat's going to float higher. And the other boats around you, they'll go up a little bit, but not as much as your boat, because you're putting water out there. And so, of course, their boat will go a little higher. But your boat will rise a whole lot more because you don't have water inside. And that's kind of the vibe of El Salvador. Is like, don't come here so you can rule the ocean. It's like, come here. Colonization days are over. It is about raising the tide for everybody. It's about empowering, giving Salvadorans opportunities. For example, I have a new assistant coming on, and I mean, in full transparency, from the get-go, I'm like, okay, what do you really want to do? And he's coming like straight from college, and it's kind of like an internship slash beginning job, because I'm pretty much going to teach him how to run an online business. And I'm kind of expecting, and he wants to, like, within, 2 years or so, after working for us and Living Like a Local, to start his own online business. And that's typical in any industry, whether you're an engineer or whatever. You work for somebody else, you get the ropes down, and then you go do it yourself. And so that's kind of what El Salvador is looking for. They're not looking for people just come, oh, I'm all in it for the cheap labor. I just want to pay somebody $400 a month, to clean my house, to do my yard, and have a whole bunch of 400-month employees that never really get a raise, that never really get any outside advantages, no benefits, no kind of retirement, barely enough to live on. No, you might want to try a different Latin American country if that's what you're looking for, because Salvadorans are fighters. They are warriors. They have been through a lot. You know that song, like, I get knocked down, but I get up again? Okay. Sans the alcohol part of that song. That is Salvadorans. Man, they have a volcano erupt and like blow up like half the city. Boom, they get back up again. They just start rebuilding, and they have a civil war where so many of the population goes missing or runs from the country and moves out of the country. They dig down deep and they just start chugging and build up again, right? And then the gangs came, and I mean, they are super hard workers. And now that Bukele has cleaned things up, they are ready to work, and they have dreams, and they're moving forward, and they're not going to be treated like indentured servants or like slaves. They want to know they have upward mobility, and that's the awesome thing about El Salvador. Because I mean, if you're thinking about moving out and moving someplace, what better thing can you do than to empower others? Kind of like my dad was like a Boy Scout leader forever. He always drilled that into us, like, leave it better than you found it, So that's what El Salvador is all about. It's about what are you here to give? How are you going to leave it better than you found it? And there's lots of incentives. One of the first incentives for investors, if you are looking at moving out of the US, right, and coming down here, there's lots of incentives. Like in the Centro Histórico, the legislature just passed a new big law. If you invest in the Centro Histórico, or the historical center of San Salvador, that has been totally revamped and it's gorgeous now. It's got the National Library, it's got the National Palace. You buy some real estate there, you put in a business, you put in some kind of entertainment. It's got so many tourists going through every single tourist that comes to El Salvador goes through the Histórico Centro. So if you invest in that historical center region, buy a property, put in a tourist shop, put in a restaurant, something like that, put in a hotel down there, you don't pay taxes for like 15 years. Even though you're in the most touristy, highest spot, hottest real estate spot in El Salvador. A lot of people are just like, well, I'm waiting for Bitcoin City. Bad Bitcoin City. Bitcoin City is just a whole bunch of bushes in between some volcanoes. Okay. No, you want the place to invest is in the Histórico Centro. Another great investment opportunity is in tech. If you're in tech, El Salvador is a place to be. It's a massive tax haven. Now, again, if you bring a tech business in, whether it's AI, whether it's an AI kind of tech business or a software business or an international or an internet business, anything like that, you get 15 years of no taxes. So digital nomads, just saying. Plus, the other great thing that they're doing right now is they have a whole lot of initiatives among the Salvadoran youth. They have because since the government wants to attract tech businesses and become the next Singapore, they've got a lot of tech classes that are cheap or free that they're giving out to the Salvadoran youth, so they can all be ready and have tech backgrounds to serve and get jobs in all these tech companies. Because let's get real, this day and age, especially in tech, you can live anywhere. You can live anywhere. You can be a digital nomad living in Bali. You can be a digital nomad living over in southern Spain. With your tech company, you can usually be based out of anywhere. So, hello, why not have the nice time zone of having the US time zone for your tech company, so you don't have to be up at crazy weird hours, right? But come here and employ a bunch of Salvadoran youth. There's English classes all over the place that are free. So a lot of the youth are learning English on top of that. And boom, there you go. But make sure you're doing it with a way for them to rise up and for them to develop and become even more valuable and increase their skills. Because nowadays you can get a VR online. You can go to Fiverr and you get somebody in, Pakistan or Malaysia or something like that to work like for super cheap. So nowadays it's a global market. It can't be like, well, I'm a tech guy, but I live in the US, so I have to be paid, $25 an hour or something like that for my tech work. Well, sorry, honey, but if somebody over in, Pakistan can do it, honey, somebody over there can do it for what you can do for $10 an hour. It's not location dependent. You can be SOL, just saying. But anyway, okay. Sorry, I'm going to catch up on the comments. Thanks. Very helpful information. Hi from Rogers, Arkansas. Everything with you guys. Cool. Hi, Carlos. Hi, Karen. Highly recommend your legal service. Thanks, Karen. Cesar was very helpful reviewing our documents for the property we just bought. So see, as I said, contracts. You got to get your contracts reviewed. I mean, we've had some clients, we do this, first of all, well, wait, stop for a minute. If you are thinking about El Salvador, if you're considering El Salvador, number one, come on our relocation tour. I started relocation tours because of the expats from Panama, the expats from Europe that came, and they were kind of sold on the hype. But then when they got here, they're like, wait, what? Or kind of like, well, the Panamanians weren't, but the Europeans were. They were sold on the hype because they'd never come here before and they'd never been to Latin America, right? But the Panamanians were like, dude, I was sold on hype about, oh, Panama's this great paradise, and I just got robbed so bad for being a gringo. A gringo means like a white person from up north. Usually it's a Canadian, somebody from the U.S. Um, um, and so, and they're jaded, right? So what I created a relocation tour that hits you with all of the biggest cultural shocks. Because honestly, I don't want you coming here and then getting to El Salvador and it not being what you expected. And then you sit there and you're like, oh man, this is a bunch of crap. Jeni said this and that and that. And it's like, did you do your due diligence? Did you know anything about the country before you got here? Did you know they play their music loud and they have fireworks all night long? Do you know there's animals all over the place? There's stray dogs. It's super pet friendly. If you have big dander issues, I mean, there's dogs and cats and all over the place. It's super pet friendly. So if you're not an animal person and that really freaks you out, this may not be your country. So my relocations tour, it's 7 days, 6 nights. We hit the city, we hit the mountains, and we hit the beach. All the 3 different types of locations you can live in. And I hit you with all the cultural shocks that you may not know or expect from living in a tropical country. And I do it so that by the end of the week, you will have, the people that have already done this, we've been doing this since last June. The people, by the end of the week, you will have a 90% assurance of, yes, El Salvador's for me, or nope, I need to go look somebody else. Go try something else because I don't like this or this or this, or I don't eat my food with my hands. Everybody eats their food with their hands in El Salvador. If you're a knife and fork kind of person, that grosses you out, that people eat with their hands, yeah, no, you might want to try Europe or somewhere there's always utensils. So anyway, so that's the point of the relocation tour. And also every single day, I connect you with one of our trusted partners. And these are people that we have vetted, that we have used, that are honest, dependable. They will not scam you. And for as far as like shipping, as far as like medical care and insurance, how to get the right kind of medical care. I have my builder will be like about construction. Look, because, okay, again, big cultural difference. If you just hire whomever, sometimes they don't always show up every day or at the same time every day, or maybe after they had a bad night the night before. Okay, so I mean, we've gone through lots of different contractors and builders to find builders that will understand your expectations. They'll be okay with you going by, checking out the job, and they get her done. They get her done because building projects, they can go from like a month to like months on end. And it'll be like, oh, well, I needed to get this part, but I'm waiting for my brother's cousins, whatever, to bring the part down, and things just get stalled really easily. And they have this phrase called ni modo. It means like kind of like, well, anyway, it's kind of like, either way, it doesn't really matter, So it's like, well, we can't really work, so ni modo. And just like everywhere, never pay full up front. So we have what's one night where we talk about build it, buy it, or rent it. We talk all about the ins and outs of that, and we hook you up with our real estate people and our builders that will get it done. So yeah. And so we do that every single day. We have a different expert, and you'll meet expats that already live here. So you'll get social connections, and you can talk to them. And I don't filter them and say, hey, you have to promote us. No. We all sit down. Wally. You can ask them any question you want about what life is like, how long they've been here, things they like, they don't like. I try and keep it all real because I'm not trying to sell El Salvador. El Salvador is my paradise and I'm creating the paradise that I want. And it's an opportunity for you to create the paradise that you want to flourish on top of that. Um, so I just show you the materials. You're the one that's got to do the creating. So and then after the end of that week, as I said, people have 90%. Yep, I'm going to go back home, close up some stuff, and then be back. And then once they come back, we have an immigration package where you can sit there and we'll do your immigration paperwork and help you get your residency and help you get all legal. Um, or we have a concierge package that I've been doing, like if where I've been helping families and help people. They're just like, you know what? It is so much work to move to a new country, especially if you don't have really good Spanish. If you're coming here, you have to learn Spanish. Just saying. If you're gonna live here, you gotta speak the language, honey. You got Google Translate. You've got these little fluent talk, like translator boxes that you can talk into and they'll translate back and forth. I mean, you can do those, but start classes. My concierge, in the concierge package, it includes like, hello, 6 weeks of beginning Spanish tutorial classes. It includes like us walking you through your immigration package. It includes, right now, I'm finding a house for a family that's coming from Europe. Oh, I'm getting their house already in place. We're going to get furniture all in place. We're getting everything signed up for their kids are going to get in school, have everything going. So the minute they touch down, they come home. They come immediately home. They have everything in place. I take them the next 7 days. We go out every day and get everything done so that, in the first week, they're they're moved in all the day they get there. But then after 7 days, they're already in normal life in El Salvador. That's concierge hosting. And that is, yeah. And that's kind of like our premium kind of package because it's a lot of work that we do for you. So you don't have to make 10 million decisions that that typically you have to make when you're moving to a new country. But yeah. So let's see what else is there. Blessings. Hi, Edwin. My spouse and family fled during the Civil War. Their story is so empowering. We are wanting to return to my spouse's home country for retirement. Cool. As a gringo, let your entitlement go. Live humble. Yeah, that's the other thing. If you are coming from the U.S., you have to move those expectations down. You have to move your entitlement down of just like, why isn't everything here exactly when I want it? There's no Amazon. There's no, you can't, like, I have yet to have a letter like mailed to me. I've never even seen a mailman. Okay. So, I mean, we have a mailbox that's in a mailbox center. That's where we get our mail sent to. But like, you won't see mailboxes around El Salvador. And so, if you're somebody who likes, I want what I want right now, um, and oh my gosh, I have to have this and I have to have that. Um, yeah, it's not your country. But if you don't work, if you don't mind doing a little bit of work to get the things you need and going without a lot of luxury and conveniences to just live simply and healthy. That's one thing that's massive here. There's a lot less stress and there's a lot less it's so easy to live healthy. I am so much healthier when I'm in El Salvador than when I'm in the States. Just saying. Because everything is made from like fresh ingredients. There are like, gringo junk food stores and stuff, but hello, I never go to them because it's usually cheaper and made at the mom and pop places. There's tons of mom and pop places. I love the mom and pop places. Get some really good soup, get some really good, rice and beans, some casamiento. I mean, it's easy to live healthy. Just saying. Oh, uh, do you know if dental hygienists are needed down there? Okay, next thing. TT, you're from Canada. Okay, do not come down here looking for a job. Yes, there are dental hygienists down here, but I don't know that they make much more than maybe $800. That's just a crazy random thing. Maybe $800 a month. Okay, the salaries are typically super low. They're going up, but do not come down here to take a job that a Salvadoran could do. Come down here to either, because you're either working online or you're starting a business where you're going to be employing other people, or and even and if you go to our website, you can read on our website. It has a little fill out this survey, different ways that you can get residency. Okay, and the different ways you can come down here retired, or you can come down here living off your royalties, because it does not it's not that expensive to live down here. You're living pretty nice on 2,000 a month if you're like in like a 1-bedroom apartment. You could live really nice on $2,000 a month in a 1-bedroom apartment, depending upon where that apartment is. If you're in the city, yeah. But if you're out in the country, wow, you live rich like a rich man on 2,000 a month. Let's see, Alan Archie, same here with my husband. We have property. We're moving soon. Yep, Karen's coming down with her hubby, and they're gonna have this cute little farm. Let's see. I couldn't find any root beer when I was there. Yes, Stephen, you're right. Root beer, you can get root beer, but you have to get it at like the gringo, like Pizza Hut and like the international restaurants. That's the only place I've ever seen root beer, is international restaurants. Because Coke doesn't really carry root beer, and most of the places carry Coke products. I haven't ever seen Pepsi products. But let's see. I am looking to open a dental clinic. That's a great idea. That's a great idea. And I can say, because we do offer medical tourism, so dental, like cleanings and stuff like that. Cleanings like 25 bucks. You could get like 25 to $45, depending upon the dentist that you go to. That's for a cleaning. If you have to do a filling, get a filling taken care of. That's typically around 50 bucks, 50 to 75. If you don't know any Spanish and you'd like us to help you get good quality medical dental care, we have on our website, you can look it up. There's a little form you can fill out, and we can put together a package for you to come down and get everything from stem cell to implants to dentures for a fraction of the cost. And we'll put together your stay, your driver, even have meals delivered to you. Because, once you have a procedure done, who wants to go out and eat or cook? Nobody. So, let's see. My spouse is from El Salvador, and we were thinking about moving down there, but wanted to open my own business. Oh, that sounds cool. Sorry, should have clarified that from the get-go. Yeah. And so, yeah, TT, I would definitely come down, look around, talk to a few other dentists. Yeah, about how business is here, how running your own dental clinic down here, what it's like, the expectations, things like that. Let's see. El Salvador sounds very similar to Montenegro. Oh, crochet and knitting inspirations. I think I know these. But okay, thank you so much for that information. You're welcome, honey. And on that note, we have relocation tours that are the third or fourth week of the month, and of almost every month. So next one's coming up in January 17th, and I still have openings. So if you're seriously think about this, jump on down here. We'll take you around. We'll give you the ins and outs. It's a kind of an intensive week, because a lot of people don't have 3 months to like move to a country and like check it out the slow way. And visiting El Salvador is not the same as living here. Our relocation tours, they're not tourism. We're not going to hike a volcano. You're not going to learn how to surf. You're going to get a taste of what it's like to live in El Salvador. So that's why it's kind of an intense week, but trying to get it done so you know what you're getting into. Because El Salvador is awesome and I love it. And I love the paradise I'm creating. But you just got to know. You got to jump in and try it for yourself and see. So that's it. If there's no more questions, then that's it for our live this Sunday. And I will see you guys next Sunday. That's it. Take care. Adios.